so glad you guys can join me today for my birth and delivery, our labor and delivery story. First we're gonna start off, so we'll take a look at little Jori. She's trying to eat her blanket right now, but here she is. What are you doing? Yawning? Oh yeah. Okay. Alright, so to start off, September 1st is the day like everything got started. I went on my routine doctor visits, which by then had turned into like weekly visits. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm going in just like I had for the previous weeks. I go in, they check me out, the appointment takes like 30 minutes and I'm out of there. Well, the previous week, like the time between the appointment that I had, like, because you know it's only a week, so the time between the first and the appointment that I had in August, I had started to swell a lot. Like my face got really swollen, my eyes were like puffy, swollen, my feet, my hands. So I went in and I was going to bring that up to my doctor. So I went in and, you know, you talk to the nurse first and she takes all your vitals and everything like that. And while she's taking them, she was like, is your blood pressure usually this high? And I'm like, no, you know, normally I have pretty good blood pressure. I don't ever have any problem with it. They never mentioned any problem before. So after that, my doctor came in and my doctor was like, there's something going on, your blood pressure, you know, it's not normal, and when I look at you, you're all swollen, so I'm gonna send you, you know, to the hospital. And then they also, because you know when you go you have to pee in the cup, they checked my pee too. There was some protein in it. So from there I went directly to the hospital, and my doctor's appointment was at 8. So by 8:30 I was at the hospital. I walk in, they take me to the back, and of course they make me pee in a cup again, which I didn't have much pee because I hadn't really, I wake up then I go straight to the doctor. I don't usually like drink a lot of water in between that time. So but I peed in the cup, they took my blood, and they also did like my blood pressure and everything again. And when I was talking to the head midwife, she was letting me know, she said normally when they send you, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have your baby, you know, today. And I'm thinking in my head, I was like, this lady is crazy. I've been feeling fine up until, you know, last week, and that was like the end of last week. I never really had any trouble, and you know, as the weeks progress you start to move slower and slower. So I was like, okay, well, this lady doesn't know what she's talking about. But I called my mom, I called her dad, you know, just to let them know, hey, I'm here. This is a precaution. You may have to leave work. You don't have to leave, you know, right now because no results are back. But just so you can kind of make people aware that you may have to leave. So, my mom makes it there, and we're all in there, and we're, you know, in the room. And then the lady comes back in, and they're like talking and going over stuff, and she's like, well, you're staying. And I was like, what? And she's like, yes, we are going to actually get you started because of your blood pressure. Pretty much, guys, I developed preeclampsia. So they had to go ahead and work on her in order to help me. The thing with my blood pressure was so bad is that they gave me magnesium, but they couldn't really give me the magnesium until they kind of got labor, you know, going. So they gave me a pill to kind of induce me, and then that started. I didn't really feel any pain or anything with that. The next thing that I remember, because the day is hard for me to remember, the next day that I remember is somebody else wants attention, is that I felt like a wet sensation, just like I used the bathroom with myself, but I hadn't peed. My water had broke while I was laying in the bed. And so I told the ladies, and they're like, okay, it's okay, it's okay. There was no pain with it. It just broke. So after that, I started to have contractions, but I couldn't really feel them. The lady would like ask me, do you feel that? And I'm like, no, I don't really feel anything. She's like, well, you're having a contraction now. Oh, okay, it's okay. It's all right. Like, well, you're having a contraction now. It's like, okay, cool. That'll work, no problem. So then they came in and they told me that in order to give me the medicine to actually help with my high blood pressure that I was experiencing, the magnesium, they would have to give me my epidural. And they were letting me know, they were like, well, it doesn't really wear off and it's gonna work fine. So like, okay, give it to me. So they gave me the epidural, and my legs, they were numb, but I could still feel like if you were touching them, I could still feel you were touching them. There wasn't any pain. I couldn't feel cold or hot or any type of pain with you touching my legs, but I could feel a sensation of you touching my legs, and I could move my legs on my own. I know, Mama. I know. And I couldn't move my legs on my own. And from what I've heard from other people is they haven't had the opportunity to like move their legs. People had to move their legs for them and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll get better once everything kind of sets in. No. So I started to feel like I had to poop. And I was like, I was telling Mom, I was like, Mom, because she was standing on the side of the bed, because I could feel my contractions by now. And she was standing on the side of the bed holding my hand. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, I feel like I have to, use the bathroom. And she was like, well, we're just going to breathe through it or whatever. And so it got so bad they had to, I had to call the midwife in. The midwife came in and she checked me, and she was like, oh my gosh. Because they didn't think I was going to have the baby on the first. They really thought it was going to end up being in the second, that they would have induced me. But normally labor takes a really long time, so they have to, I probably wouldn't have her till early in the morning on the second. Girl, the pressure that I felt like down there, I felt like I was just going to like shoot her out into the room. Like, that's how it felt, right? So I'm there talking, with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, they gotta do, something, because it was like, ugh, and the lady was like, well, the epidural, it gets rid of the pain, but it won't do anything for the pressure that you feel. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this pressure is ridiculous. I mean, it's borderline like painful. So then she checked me the first time, and I started to I was there, I was ready. I started to push, and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. Nothing. So then she was like, well, we're gonna give you a break. We don't want to stress you out too much with all the pushing because of your blood pressure. We're gonna give you a break, and then we'll come back. So they gave me a break. And so, sorry, that was my mom on the phone. Anyway, so after that, the first time I decided I was gonna push, it didn't work out. So they left, and I started, like, maybe 5-10 minutes after they left, I started to feel like major pressure. Like, this is nothing that I've ever felt before. And I've been trying to look, I've been looking online to see if any ladies describe what the labor process felt like. And there was really no good description about what it's gonna feel like, right? I had never felt anything like this before. It was just a lot of pressure on your bum area, like just and then when the midwife came in, I could see on her face that she was like, okay, well, you know, I know that she says she's having pressure, but I'm pretty sure that she's gonna be, you know, it won't be that bad. She checked me and she's like, oh my God, I see why you feel so much pressure. You should be definitely ready to push on out of there. I was like, yes. So they set me up and I started to push. Keep in mind, I didn't take any classes on how to push, so I had no idea how to push. So I was pushing, right? So I pushed and I was pushing, and you're supposed to hold your air in, but when I was pushing, I was like letting my air out like that, right? My mom was like, Tori, you have to hold your air in. I didn't know that. So then I started to push when I would have the contractions, and the midwife was like, well, you have to wait until Max, stop. You have to wait until your contractions you're at the peak of your contractions. I couldn't really feel them, so I'm like, this lady's gonna have to tell me when I'm at the peak. So I would tell her, I was like, here it comes, and she was like, okay, ready, push, and she'll be like 1, 2, 3. It was like the longest count to 10 ever. I was, you know, I was about to die holding my breath. It was really interesting, and I just kept pushing. And then I got to the point where I remember everybody was around the bed. My family was on this side and the nurses were on this side. And I went to like every single person on my family side and I was like, help, help me, help. None of them said anything. I remember this clearly. None of them said anything. So then I went to the nurse side and I basically said the same thing. I was like, help me, help me, help me. And they still like tease me about that today. They were like, what did you want us to do? I was like, I wanted y'all to help me. If helping me meant cutting my stomach open for this little person to come out, that's what I need you to do, because this is very painful. So after I pushed, I maybe pushed 10 times and she came on out. I did. Anyway, so after I pushed her out, they had my legs up in the air because I had tears, so she had to stitch me. And I mean, this lady was down there stitching for a while, and I was like, oh my God, I must have ripped my whole cooch open, because this lady is really doing some stitching down there. But I was so relieved that the pain was over that I didn't care how long she was down there stitching. So she finished stitching and everything, and it was done. And they put like a little ice pack on me, and they still were monitoring my blood pressure, and they did that for, you know, every 10 minutes for the whole night that I was there. I had her at 11:33. She was 6 pounds 2 ounces and 19 inches long. We have our first doctor's appointment Friday, so of course you guys are coming along. When she was first delivered, we did skin to skin for the first 30 minutes, and then 30 minutes to an hour, and then after that she went to you know, other family members so they could hold her and look at her. Most of the time all she did was sleep. So after that, you know, that nothing was, they didn't find anything wrong with her. Now everything was back to me. And with preeclampsia, the thing about it is, it doesn't, as soon as, you know, once you have the baby, you would think it goes away. No, it sticks with you for a while, and then it eventually kind of fades away. So while I was there, my blood pressure was still high. It did not go down. They also checked when they took my blood, they checked it and they saw that my count was low. So once I was moved out of the labor and delivery unit, and I was just moved to the unit that just has the mothers, I was told that I would need a blood transfusion. I took 3 bags of blood, and that was just to help me with my count. The doctor let me know it was probably the reason why I felt cold all the time, and then the reason why I was having other issues as well. And then also were monitoring my blood pressure still, and my temperature. So I was in the hospital for 4 days. The first 2 days were really, we're dealing with a delivery. But after the delivery, the last 2 days are really dealing with me. On that 3rd day, I got the transfusion. They started checking my temperature, make sure my temperature and everything was down. So, after that, I did the transfusion, and then pretty much the next day, they were just checking my temperature, my blood pressure. So much for watching my labor and delivery story. I appreciate it. You all have a great day. Me and Jori, we're gonna take a nap. So see ya. Bye.